Most of us all make the same mistake when trying to achieve a goal or be successful. But you know what? I tried this one method for a whole year and oh my God, did it change my life? So I'm going to show you what that is right now. But hold up. Let me make sure that we do have the same mistakes. I don't know. It could be different. I'm going to give you mine and then you can let me know in the comments what yours are if they're similar. And then I'll give you what I learned, maybe because I had to learn it the hard way. I'm gonna just run through these and then I might give an example for each of those. So my first one was lack of clear plan, relying too much on motivation, fear of failure, not tracking progress, trying to do it alone, lack of adaptability, my bad, and giving up too soon. Those are the seven. And then I'm gonna show you, like I said, that it's a nice little roadmap that I was given that helped me change. But like just for number one, for me, how many people have that? If you had that same issue with lacking a clear plan, leave it in the comments. But I'll just give you a quick example of mine. I always knew that I wanted to become a millionaire, right? So I knew that at 15 years old, I wanted to be a millionaire. But I was like, I'm either gonna play basketball to get there or do something in entertainment just because of the environment that I was in. That's kind of what you did, right? Music, balling, or something like that. So at 15, I was like, I'm gonna make it to the league because that's what I thought. But like I didn't have a clear plan at all on how I was gonna do that. I just thought I was gonna go to the gym, play ball, do good, get on some, AAU teams, go to college, and then that was it. But oh my God, there's so much politics involved in trying to get to the NBA. Like I remember one time back in the day when the Pyramid used to host the summer league, and so my boy was cooking, doing this guy in on the court, and then at the end of the tournament or whatnot, coach was like, man. And my boy's name was Harold. He was like, man, Harold, I will put you on the team, but I owe this agent a favor. And he's like, so I gotta put him on the 12th spot. And it was like, what? So he was destroying this guy. And the coach was like, I would do it, but I owe this person a favor. So it comes down to politics. So it's way more like look at the Luka trade to the Lakers. Like that was based on politics and relationships. So it's way more than a person just playing basketball and getting on the AAU team in order to make it to the NBA. And like that's something that I didn't know and I couldn't plan for that. But if someone had asked me now, I went through this whole process of trying to get to the NBA. So I know kind of what to do. And then I have friends that made it to the league. So I kind of got an idea. One of my cousins made it to the NBA. So I kind of know what, kind of a plan that someone would be able to do to a certain degree versus the one that I had of just spending a lot of time in the gym playing ball and getting on a squad and thinking you're going to get picked up. So that's kind of one of my ideas when it comes to lacking a plan. I really didn't have one in regards to that, and relying too much on motivation. I don't think everybody falls into that category, right? You might go to a conference or you might listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video and you get super motivated, and then that motivation kicks in, and then you might have that motivation for like a month, and then after that, then what? That's one of the big things that I learned, when I got my master practitioner in integrative psychology is like you got to figure out how to not rely on motivation, right? And so again, I'm going to show you a bunch of different steps, and I'm going to give you a different examples of the opposite of what we might be doing right now. Everybody does this. Everybody struggles with having to be motivated to get to a certain place, and so that is not going to work. Motivation alone is not going to help someone become successful or achieve any goal. It just doesn't work like that because you can't be motivated all the time. Motivation is a state. You can only be in one state at the same time. So that's why I'm telling you, motivation as a barometer on helping you become successful is not going to work. And then fear of failure or perfectionism. Most people, again, you can see how everyone probably struggles with these, especially these top two or top three, because everybody feels like they got to know every single thing before they do something. And so, like, when I got into real estate, I felt like I didn't want to pull the trigger until I had all the money to do it, or until I had all the connections, or until I had everything in a row, and then I would go out there and start. And that's the exact opposite of what you need to do. Like I went through and got a mentorship with a coach, and me having that coach, it gave me the plan that I needed to be able to get into real estate. So that kind of knocked out number one for me is because I got a coach and I got a mentor, and he gave me the exact roadmap of what I needed versus me working at the bank and feeling like I knew how to do real estate and feeling like I needed to have all this money or feeling like I need to go get my license and you see what I'm saying? It's all about feel. It's all about feeling. feelings don't really matter when you're trying to achieve a goal. It's like, what are the facts and what's the plan to get there? What are the habits that you're going to do? So again, trying to be perfect before you start something is not going to work. And fear of starting it, and I think that's parts of perfectionism. You're using that as a fear of you starting because you don't want to make a mistake or you don't want to run into a situation that you don't know how to control. And it comes back to the fear of the unknown. Most people fear what they don't know, and that's going to always prevent somebody from achieving a goal or being successful, because in order for you to do that, if it's a goal, that means you've never done it, or you have done it in the past and now you're trying to do another goal on top of that. But you don't want to be setting goals that are that small, of something that you've done before. You want a goal that's so big that it's something that you've never done, and you should have fear behind that goal. So that's what I mean by perfectionism. I think they go hand in hand, and you might use it as a mechanism of fear to prevent you from being successful. And not tracking progress. Again, what are you gauging? What are you gauging your success or your goal on? Like, what are you tracking as? And again, for me, I want to use the NBA so bad because I love basketball and basketball season's in, but I'm just going to stick to real estate and my goals in business. So with me and not tracking progress, I mean, I didn't have revenue numbers. I didn't have a particular employees I want to have or how many deals I should close. My goal was just to make sure, if you saw my last video or one of my videos previously where I talked about having enough money to cover my expenses so that I could quit my job. My goal was just to make enough money every month to cover my expenses so I didn't have to go back to work. But that's not a really good goal when you're trying to build a business, especially when you're trying to do real estate. It's not a good goal to just make enough money to cover your expenses, because you're not going to succeed in business. You're going to always have the mindset, and you're going to have a ceiling of only being able to make enough money to cover your expenses, because that's where your goal is and that's where your mindset is stopped. And so based on your reticular activator, and that's what you use with goal setting and accomplishing goals, is going to set the bar for you to only be able to achieve what it is that you set it out to do. And that is make that enough money to cover your expenses. So I wasn't tracking my progress past the level of me being able to pay my bills. And then I got to the point of, once I got that coach, like, this is what you got to do. These are the number of goals. I mean, these are the number of properties that you need to hit per month to hit this amount of money to make this amount for the whole year. Like, it just started coming down to being able to track. And then there's different KPIs that I started learning with business. How much money are you spending on advertising? What is that returning for you as a customer? What is the lifetime value of a customer? Like, this is when I started learning all of these different things. Once I got a coach that was telling me, you need to start tracking your progress. You need to create KPIs. What's your click-through ratio on the videos that you're creating? Like, so many metrics started popping up that allowed me to start scaling my business to do $1 million in revenue in like 12 months or less. Like, that's when it started changing for me, because then my perception of money started changing. And that goes back to, you're going to see the plan that I got. That was like, man, I'm telling you, it's a roadmap that shows you everything from support network to, you're going to hit points in time where you're not motivated. And then you're going to need somebody to keep you accountable. So you're going to see on this roadmap all the different areas of, there is even a part where you're going to hit a point. Let me keep going. I don't want to give it away. So trying to do it alone, that was something that I struggled with in the beginning, because I didn't want to have any business partners. I just wanted to do everything by myself. And that also prevented me from, again, getting to a certain level, because I was so worried about someone taking advantage of me. And most people have trust issues, especially when it comes to money. You might trust a handful of people when it comes to money, but when you're growing a business, you're going to have to trust somebody at some point in time. And a lot of people always feel like nobody can do a better job than them at whatever it is. But that would mean that you're perfect at every single thing that you do. I'm not good at paperwork. I hate paper pushing. I can do it, but it's not my strong suit. My strong suit is talking to people, networking, doing numbers, being creative, coming up with ideas. Social media is not my strong suit. I don't do social media at all. I don't have no app except Twitter on my phone and LinkedIn. And I guess YouTube is kind of turning into a social media platform now, but these are the apps I have on my phone. I don't post on social media at all. This information is coming to you for me, recording it, and then giving it to somebody for them to cut it up and do whatever it is they're going to do. I don't do anything, right? But that doesn't mean I don't need social media. You need that in this day and age to grow your business. I was so against doing social media. I remember at one point 2 years ago, my friend was like, you got to go live. You got to do content. I'm like, I'm not doing it. But then as I moved through life and I moved through business, and then you start looking at advertising and marketing, then you realize you got to do social media in order for your business to grow and not get left behind, especially if you don't have millions of dollars to dump into Google ads and pay-per-click and things like that. You got to learn how to do this. So again, that wasn't my strong suit. So I had to delegate. You got to start learning how to delegate. You got to start learning how to trust people, and therefore you can't do it alone. You need to be able to focus on whatever it is that you're good at so you can bring in more revenue and do what's best for you that you can spend a greater amount of time doing that's going to drive more revenue and business to your business. Lack of adaptability, that goes back to what I just said. That was my issue. I did not want to adapt to the new environment of being on social media. Even though I think social media is a time suck and it's just a waste of time and it's just doing all kind of negative things for society, I do feel like it's very important. Obviously, I'm doing YouTube videos now, and that's something that I didn't want to do. I was doing an audio podcast only, but that again, it's only going to give you so much reach because there's a bunch of different metrics that tell you people need to see you in 5 to 7 different platforms in order to like, know, and trust you, and then to, do business with you. So therefore, me having a podcast, me being on LinkedIn, me being on Twitter, me being on all these different platforms, I need to do it in order for me to be successful in business and get my mobile app going, or whatever it is I'm trying to do. So if you don't have the adaptability, because people don't like change, and that's the reason why people aren't successful at achieving whatever goal it is or whatever they're trying to be successful at, because you got to change it. You can't improve and not change at the same time. So you got to have adaptability with whatever it is that you're trying to do if you want to be successful. And number 7, most people give up too soon. Everybody thinks that they see somebody on social media, they driving a Phantom, or they driving a nice car, they live in a nice house, they're doing whatever they see these people being in Fiji or whatever it is, and they think that shit is easy. It's so hard to build a business from scratch. That's why you see some people online say it's easier to just go out and buy businesses. Obviously, you need money to buy businesses, and they don't say that. There's YouTube ads get you to click on it and get you to go there, and it's like, man, I don't got, such and such amount of money to just buy a business. So it's a lot easier to build a business if you don't have money, but people give up too soon, because once you get into this and you start working, you're like, oh my God, even with creating YouTube videos and content, people see these YouTubers with millions of views on their videos and millions of subscribers. And it's like, you know how hard that is? I'm trying to show my son Mason how to just be successful at whatever he is. He's about to be 11 years old. And I'm like, you got to commit. So he, if you have kids, they always change their mind on what they want to do. He's committed to playing basketball. So now, based on my story about getting to the NBA, I'm showing him what he needs to do. And he's even creating content around that. He's creating a channel because I'm like, you got to commit to something. So you got to get your kids early on to commit to something, because that's going to give them habits, right? We don't decide our future. We decide our habits, and our habits decide our future. The power of a habit will control your destiny. And so with him, I'm like, if you're going to commit to something, if you're going to do it, you need to do this. If you want to be like, hey, I want to be an editor, I'm going to give you an editor app. And then you're going to create your YouTube videos, document your history, because of what I just said. You need all of this stuff in order to be successful. So he's doing all of this. And I'm like, this is what you're going to commit to. This is what you're going to do. And so he's like, man, watching YouTube videos, it looks so easy. This is what he told me the other day. And I'm like, yeah, it does. But it's not easy as people think it is. Like, he just thought he was just going to stroll to the NBA and become a ball player. And I'm like, no, you got to do this, this, and this, and you got to start early. So he's documenting his journey, creating YouTube videos, recording his AAU games. He's in travel ball, doing all that kind of stuff. And he's chopping up these videos and editing them and creating his own content. So therefore, he's getting the full experience of what he's going to need, because I don't want him to have a job. I want him to either make it to the league or have his own business. And so he's learning how to do all of these different things, and I'm making him also commit to it.